5 ant colonies, one legendary bloodline, locked in a battle for glory. They are giants among ants, fierce, relentless, deadly. But this time, they face not predators, not the wild. They have to face each other. And among them, there is one colony unlike the rest. A challenger with a secret weapon, a hidden superpower. We'll get to that soon. And in the end, only one will claim the prize. FormicLab presents the Big Camponotus Challenge.
Welcome back to FormicLab. Today, we begin something truly special. The ultimate Camponotus challenge. 5 colonies, side by side. And you'll see exactly how they grow, compete, and fight for the #1 spot. But before we go into the rules and details, let's meet our contenders. First, the shadow wanderer of Europe, Camponotusvagus. Black, restless, always exploring, known for spreading far and wide across forests and fields. Next, the dark knight of the forest, Camponotusligniperda. Black head, red thorax, one of the largest ant species in Europe. The Mediterranean barbarian, camponotusbarbaricus. A queen built like a tank, with soldiers carrying massive jaws. Pure strength, aggression, and raw size. From the dry lands of Central Asia, meet camponotusfedtschenkoi. Elegant, with a truly unique appearance, and masters of survival in harsh environments. And finally, our secret challenger, camponotusnicobarensis, a colony with a superpower. Not 1, but 2 queens. 2 beating hearts, 2 egg-laying machines, twice the potential. We started this challenge 3 months ago, back in June, when each of these queens moved into our lab. Since then, their colonies have been growing, step by step, egg by egg. So, how does the challenge work? The rules are simple. The competition ends at the end of October. Every colony receives the same food with the same frequency. And the winner, the colony that raises the most workers by the deadline, will get the prize. But to keep this competition fair, we made one important decision. For the twin queen colony Camponotusnicobarensis, only 60% of their workers will count toward the final score. Why not just half? Because yes, they do have 2 queens, but they also joined our lab later than the others, already a few weeks behind. This way, their advantage is balanced without erasing the challenge completely. That's it. No tricks, no shortcuts, just growth, strategy, and survival. But where do they stand right now? After 3 months of growth, we counted every single worker, one by one. Let's go through each colony to see what happened to them during this time, and where they stand right now. But before that, if you enjoyed the video so far, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. Who do you think will win the challenge? The very first colonies to arrive in our lab were 2 giants of Europe, Camponotusvagus and Camponotusligniperda, the giant forest ant. Both rank among the largest ants of the continent. Massive bodies, powerful jaws, built for survival in the wild. Camponotusvagus, sleek and dark, a restless wanderer of the forest, agile, fast, always exploring. And Camponotusligniperda, with its black head and reddish body, a true armored knight of the woods, sturdy, imposing, a giant that dominates its habitat. Both species thrive in Europe's forests, and in fact, a short documentary was made about Ligniperda on our channel, definitely worth watching if you want to see more of their world. But here in the challenge, it's not about territory or forest life, it's about growth. So far, Camponotusvagus has taken the lead, with 15 workers already, while Camponotusligniperda lags behind at just 8. Still, both colonies hold plenty of brood eggs and larvae waiting to hatch. Will Vagus run away with the lead, or will Ligniperda awaken and strike back later? From Spain came our third contender, Camponotusbarbaricus. This species is a true Mediterranean barbarian. The queen, a massive tank, towers over her brood, but the first nanitics, the tiny workers, look different. Their heads are long and narrow, their bodies more slender compared to the bulkier European giants. With so much brood, the first workers emerged quickly, but later on, feeding them was a challenge. Their long legs made them incredibly fast, and every time we tried to feed, they rushed for the exit, desperate to escape the test tube. At that moment, we didn't have any mini outworlds at hand, which made things complicated. So instead, we moved them into a small formicarium, just the founding chamber open, enough to keep them safe and easy to feed. Interestingly, this species is rather shy. They mostly forage in the early morning or late evening. For now, the colony stands at 11 workers. Next, the species we were most cautious about, camponotusfedtschenkoi. Many keepers say they're sensitive, easily stressed, not always comfortable in a simple test tube setup. When the first workers hatched, we called them ghost ants. Yellowish, almost invisible in their first days of life, beautiful, but fragile. These little ghosts are the very first workers. They look pale because their skin is still soft, and only after a few days it hardens and turns darker. The queen makes these first workers smaller, so she doesn't waste too much energy, but even though they are tiny, they can already do everything the colony needs. Bringing food, drinking water, and feeding the babies. From this moment on, the whole colony starts to grow faster and stronger. With sugar shared mouth-to-mouth trophallaxis and protein for larvae, growth shifts from survival to momentum. The queen herself proved temperamental, attacking during feedings, clearly stressed by movement. To keep her stable, we quickly set up a small outworld with an extra water-filled test tube, ensuring proper humidity and drinking water. Once the first workers arrived, growth accelerated rapidly. Today, this colony stands at 14 strong. And finally, the twins, the double queen powerhouse camponotusnicobarensis. They arrived 2 to 3 weeks later than the others, with less brood than expected, but this species is infamous for explosive growth. Under ideal conditions, a single queen can produce up to 1,000 workers in her first year. With 2 queens, they quickly caught up to the rest. Of course, 2 queens would be an unfair advantage, so, for this challenge, only 60% of their workers will count toward the standings. Why 60 and not 50? Because they started late, arriving behind the others, and this balances their handicap while still keeping things interesting. Together, the 2 queens have produced 16 workers so far. Counted at 60%, that's 10 workers officially recognized in the challenge. So, after 3 long months of growth, here's where the battlefield stands. Camponotusvagus, the shadow wanderer, surging ahead with 15 workers. Fast, restless, always moving forward. Camponotusligniperda, the dark knight of the forest, far behind at only 8 workers, but with heavy brood waiting to hatch. Slow to rise, yes, but when this giant awakens, nothing may stand in its way. Camponotusbarbaricus, the Mediterranean barbarian, standing at 11 workers, built for raw power, but shy, waiting for the right moment to strike. Camponotusfedtschenkoi, the golden survivor of the deserts, now at 14 strong. Once fragile ghost ants, now a growing force, ready to challenge the lead. And finally, camponotusnicobarensis, the twins, 2 queens, 16 workers, but for fairness, only 10 count. Even with this handicap, their growth is terrifying. They are already very close behind the leader. The battlefield is alive. Some colonies sprint, others take their time, but every day, the balance shifts. And with the deadline of October closing in, the pressure rises. Who will dominate? Who will fall? We'll find out in November, when the winner is revealed and crowned with the brand new, crystal clear formicarium, the ultimate ant palace. But before that, we want to hear from you. Who do you think will win the challenge? Share your vote in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, so you won't miss the grand reveal. Because, in the end, only one will claim the prize.